of these parts of the industry where you are, again, work ready in the industry. So those are the positives there. And our faculty and adjunct faculty are really great who work on this program, and they are people who have a number of years of work. I'm thinking about a few of them who've got a number of years of between 5 and 10 years of experience in the investment industry, some more, and those who've got experience in corporate finance. So everything from corporate finance, risk management, hedge fund management, unit trust management, as well as analysts for various institutions, as well as economists. So there are people from all backgrounds of the investment industry and related industries who have been involved, who are currently involved in the program and have been involved in the program in the past in putting it all together. So it is it's a wonderful program, which I would really encourage all of you, if you are interested, in taking a look at. One thing which is also worthwhile just mentioning is that, and I don't want to go into details here, but also with this postgraduate program, it does give one the advantage of then being able to move into a master's program like an MBA or a more specialized master's program. And for interest's sake, there are on the PGD in investment management and the PGD in banking, there are some credits on some of the modules from that program from this year going forward, where some of those credits will be transferable if you decide to move into the MBA with Milpark. So there are some credit transfers, which is great if you decide to keep going with us. And that's me.
Great. Thanks, David. I see there is a question from Brian in terms of credits when doing CFA or CAI. We do. I'm actually not certain on that. So, Brian, I would need to get back to you on that.
I can answer that directly. So there is no credit transfer between us and this, out of those qualifications and or the other way around. So that unfortunately is not the case with this program. As I know so that isn't the case with this program. However, the PGD in investment management is quite closely related to the CFA program. It's very similar content to that program, but we aren't in any way affiliated to CFA as a provider.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, David. Thanks for that. And so hopefully it gave all of you an understanding. And again, as I said, we can definitely organize a more in-depth discussion and conversation to assist anyone who's interested in those two programs. So thank you for that. I'm going to chat a little bit more in terms of our methodologies or more robust learning, and taking into account that we are in the situation that we are in now. We have both face-to-face lectures, which we term contact learning, and distance learning online. And the face-to-face contact learning is in a different format these days because of our situation that we find ourselves in the world. So what we do there is we have sessions online that are live, they're synchronous, and you all put your cameras on and you look at each other, and you actually facilitate, and they don't do a lecture, they facilitate, because everybody hopefully has prepared beforehand. Our distance learning online, it's also self-directed, as is the contact learning. So both are really self-directed. You have a detailed timetable, study plan, the lecturer supports you, you have faculty who support you. There are, on the distance learning online, regular live sessions that you need to be at, because that is where you have a synchronous engagement with your peers as well as with your lecturer. And they put certain tasks for people to do and activities so that the interaction really does work. And that's, again, where the magic and the learning takes place. We have due performance requirements, and that's to encourage people to get onto the lectures and to make sure that you participate. And again, it's to ensure that people have engaged with the material, that you've applied it in your mind and on paper to some scenarios where you are from a work environment, and then to share and to learn and to discuss in these online participation formats. And we track how you are managing. If you haven't been around for a while, your program manager will contact you to say, are you okay, to find out where you're at and if you're okay. We do have a very close relationship with the program manager and the students. So you do form that bond and get to know each other very well, which is a good support during this time. So now I would like to have a nice discussion with two of our alumni, Tatu and Sean. They are both from the same graduating class and have gone through they've gone through the program. They've got their t-shirts, as you can see, they're on right now. And it is really, really good to see you both again. We haven't seen each other for a while now. And so thank you both for making the time again. I'm going to start with ladies first. Sean, first. Really good to chat to you again. Please share with people your decision as to why you wanted to do the MBA, and then what did you put in place to ensure your success and the really good success that you've had. You did extremely well throughout your MBA and finished really, really well. If you can give us a snapshot of why you made the decision and how you managed your journey.
Sure. Thanks, Jane. It's very good to see you as well, and even Tatu, who was my very well-behaved colleague as well. So
Yeah.
I think originally, I struggled with the idea around an MBA and why I needed to do the MBA, but the core of my decision really came from the fact that I listened to a TED talk, and the one guy said that people react out of a situation from a state of their own perception. And perception is influenced by what you've done in your past and what the experiences are that you have gained in the past. Myself, I've been very much finance driven. My whole career has been finance, so I approached everything from a numbers perspective. And I couldn't necessarily always see or understand the other HR related comments or anything like that. And this is really why I decided to do the MBA. I think it's a very good overall perspective. It gives you a nice, clear indication of different aspects of business. And I mean, I can see that in just the way that I react to situations now. I honestly believe if it wasn't for the MBA, that this whole COVID scenario would have been very different for me, because I can now think on my feet a little bit differently, and everything is not just about numbers. The fact that we have month end is almost sometimes put on the back burner, because we also have to look at people's health and what the environment is doing and all of these things. So for me, it was really to get a bit more of an overview of business in general, and not just the one-sided approach. On what I put in place from my perspective to make a success out of my MBA, I think for those of you who have people or spouses or children, in your families, I suggest sitting down with them and explaining to them that this is an investment not only to your own future, but for everyone in the household's future. It was important for me to understand that I have my husband's backing, for him to understand where he sometimes will need to pick up where I can't pick up anymore. And I mean, that for me was really a great foundation. I know it sounds silly and people might think that I'm just talking nonsense, but the MBA is intense. It's great. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And I made sure that I put in the time that is needed. But you have to remember, for you to put in time that is needed, some other things might fall. And you need to get a proper, a support structure for you in place to make sure that you can do that.
Yeah, makes sense. Tatu, as well, coming over to you. Your decision to do the MBA, why on earth, and then how you did it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Why? I think I got involved in the process as well. So I think on my side, there was two parts to it. The first one was looking at it from a career perspective. you want to obviously progress. You want to be able to be in a conversation with senior managers or at senior leadership level within the organization. So what I did do was I looked at things from a holistic way and tried to say, okay, cool, if from a South African perspective and globally, who are the guys who are sitting at board level? What are their qualifications at that board level category? And most of the times you'll find that it's LLMs, MBAs, and most of them as well are doctors in some way or form. Once I did get that view, I was like, okay, cool. Now I know how much work is required, considering that I've just got an undergrad to get to that level from an academic perspective. I think a lot of the other stuff from a softer skills perspective, you can learn on the job and you can improve on a continual basis. But to be actually trusted advisor to an organization, you need to be able to be credible in what you're saying, how you say it, and the impact that those decisions have for that organization. So I think that was the big piece. And when I did do that, I knew I had to go post-grad and then MBA. But actually, I wanted to apply the year before, and there was a change in the qualification. So the NQF levels changed. So I literally had to go and do the post-grad and then do the MBA. So, I mean, that was actually a blessing in disguise, because I think if I did go straight into the MBA as a whole, I would have drowned a bit, because it's quite daunting. And I think the post-grad gives you a bit of a softer landing when you do the MBA. In terms of what I did to survive, there's things that I did within the varsity construct that allowed me to thrive. I always looked at my classroom environment and tried to look at individuals who are better than me. And when I mean better than me, they are getting better marks, they're interacting in a more proactive manner, and learn from them and not be shy to ask questions. And then as well as to bring my personality to the classroom. So who am I as a person? Can people relate with me? So in all forms, I never tried to be someone that I wasn't. And then the second thing or the third thing was to also have individuals around me that I could actually teach. So having that continuum from learning and being able to teach, if you learn something and you cannot teach someone or cannot help someone, you really need to go back to the content itself. So all of those things help me from an academic perspective, just to excel, but also to also grow as a person. Being patient, learning about the softer skills that Chan highlighted about, being able to deal with stress levels on a different level, because you just have a lot of things flying at you in different ways. On a personal side, you've got to be realistic with yourself and know that this is taking a big part of your life. And as a result, and it's not going to be forever. Well, ideally, you don't want to be studying forever, but you want to be in a position whereby you say, this is something that I am going to walk away after 18 months, 2 years and say, look, I literally have sacrificed and I've got something to show for my sacrifice. And being able to be consistent, meaning your family around you needs to support you. You need to also show up for yourself when you don't want to wake up on a Saturday morning to come to class, because I did mine pre-COVID. And also coming to night school after a very tough day at the office and sitting in a lecture until 10. You have to be able to be consistent. So having the environment around you that allows you to be consistent and show up for school without it taking away from you energy-wise is critical to success. And I think Chan can also testify that those actual lessons learned allow us to navigate the world in a different way. So we can be a little bit calmer. We can look at things from a broader perspective and not necessarily be moved by the nuances and all the little dips within society as a whole.